drawing. That's how I am with painting. When I come into the studio, like the rest of the world disappears.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so I'm like that
Yeah.
too.
Well, and I do that too, especially if I'm in the zone. Oh my gosh, that's the greatest place to be, isn't it?
Welcome to Creative Type Podcast. This is episode 16, How to Find More Time for the Studio. I'm Lori Rivera.
And I'm Jamie Haney.
And welcome once again to Creative Type Podcast.
Hey, how was your week, Lori?
Oh, pretty good.
Good,
Not too bad.
good.
It's been a pretty typical week. I can't say
Yeah.
that anything out of the ordinary happened this week.
Oh, that's good. That's always that's a good thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that is a good thing. How's your week
Yeah.
been?
Oh, I'm trying to think. It's been okay. It's been uneventful, fairly uneventful. Well, we did work a little bit. We have an RV and the door on it in the back, like the ramp. It's a toy hauler. So the ramp, you drive up, your little buggy up in there. It had to be replaced or fixed. So we chose to fix it, and that has been, I guess, the drama for this week. And it's just the three of us, my 17-year-old son and my husband and myself. And I'm not very strong. And my son is, 130 pounds soaking wet. So, but we got it. We just about finished it. He just has to put some bolts in it this evening when he gets home from work. So
yeah, you were out there for hours last night, weren't you?
yes, yes. And now my eyes are all itchy from being out in the wind, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
usually, when I'm gardening and stuff, I have that, so it's not a big deal. But it seems like they're extra itchy today. And you said that yours was too, right?
They're burning. My eyes are
They're
burning.
burning. Yeah,
Yeah, like every once in a while, and watering, and I don't know if it's allergies. I don't know.
it
I
must
usually
be.
don't. I usually don't have that problem. So who
Yeah.
knows?
Oh, I don't know either. Well, I have to say, your shirt is amazing.
Yeah.
For those of
Thank
for those
you.
of you who are on just the podcast, you'll have to flip on over to the YouTube channel and check out Lori's shirt. I've got all these eyeballs looking at me, and it is. I love the colors, and that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
basic black today, so that's okay. That black is my color.
I like black too. I wear a
I
lot
do
of
too.
black
I
too.
wear a lot of black. You look at my closet,
Yeah.
it's mostly black with a little bit of magenta in here and there.
Yeah.
I don't do pastel colors. Okay, so let's see. What have we got to start with here? Do you want to start with your first one there?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
So, don't we all want to find
Oh
more
yeah.
time in the studio?
Hmm.
And sometimes, especially if we only have like an hour or 2 hours, we're like, oh, I don't know. If I go to the studio and get started, then I'll have to stop within no time. So we don't go at all. Well, we're going
Right.
to talk today about how to motivate yourself or not motivate yourself, but how to prioritize your time
Yes.
so that you can free up more time to get in the studio. And
Right.
one thing that I do to try and help me prioritize my time is I have a checklist app on my phone, and we've talked about this before on
Oh
here.
yeah, yeah. Your handy little checklist app.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just keep an ongoing list of all the things I have to do. And whether it's for work or home, it doesn't matter. It goes on the list. So they're all kind of in there together.
Hmm.
And I just try to get as much done on my list as I can in the mornings so I can free up my afternoons to paint. We were talking earlier this year on another podcast, Jamie. At the beginning of the year, I had a schedule that I wanted to stick to this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. How
Remember
did that
that?
go? Are you still on
Yeah,
that schedule?
no, no. This is why it's so important for me to use that checklist, because I had originally planned on painting every day from like 7:30 to 10:30. That
Yeah.
was my morning block of time. Well, we all know how life goes. There's always
Oh
something
yeah.
that gets in the way, or not in the way, but something that
Oh yeah.
happens.
Life happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
What is it they say?
either
The best laid plans,
right, right. Either I have an appointment, or my daughter has an appointment, or my husband has something going on, or and it's usually right in the middle of the day or
Hmm.
in the morning or whatever. So um I had to make a long story short, no, I have not been sticking to my schedule.
Oh no. Oh well,
So
that is the way it goes. So are you? I do want to ask you though. Are you still using that checklist app?
I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. I forget about it. So I haven't used it since like Christmas, but it was handy when I did use it, but I have
Oh
not.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just kind of forget about it.
I
So you
use it
have
all
to
the
pick
time.
something. You have to use something. Maybe your checklist is like my checklist, which was old school on paper. So whatever kind of you have to, maybe modify things to work for you, how best things work for you. I've got so many apps on my phone. It's ridiculous. And I use just a tiny fraction of them. But I'm always afraid. I'm flipping through them. I'm always afraid, well, I might use that sometime and I
I
don't want to delete it.
know.
Now I'm starting to get that your phone is full. Oh no.
Oh,
I've
I
got
hate that.
Oh, I hate that. So I'm having to go through and delete videos and photos, and I already have them backed up, but still, I like to have them right there on my phone so I could show them off.
Yeah.
All right, I kind of got off subject there. All right, so, well, you had another one. Do you want to go ahead and go with that, or do you want me to do mine?
Yeah, basically, this helps me prioritize my time. But every Sunday, I kind of sit down and look at what all I have to do for the week. I look at my schedule, what appointments we have, what I have going on, anything that is scheduled. And I kind of try to block out times each day where I'll have at least a couple hours to paint and get in the
Hmm.
studio.
Yeah,
So I just kind
that's
of
really
try to
smart.
yeah, I
That's
just
really
kind of
smart.
try
Yeah.
to plan at the beginning of the week because like I said earlier, uh my schedule that I put together at the beginning of the year, that's not working.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think weekly is good because you know what's going to happen more on Sunday. It's like having a nine to
right,
five job, right? We know if you have a 9 to 5 job, you know you're going to go in Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So
right.
it's a good way to keep yourself accountable, is to plan that out on Sunday. I think
Hmm.
that's a really
Yeah.
good tip.
Yeah, just like tomorrow, I'm going to lunch with some work friends, people I
Mhm.
used to work with.
Oh,
And
fun. Yeah.
so we're meeting at 11:30. It's right in the middle of the day, which
Uh-huh.
I got to eat lunch anyway, right?
Well, that's
So,
true. Yeah.
you
Yep.
know, so it's really okay. I'll just paint in the morning and then I know
Hmm.
I'm going to paint in the afternoon. So
Yep. Well, you got it all
tomorrow's
worked
good.
out.
Tomorrow's going to be a big painting day for me, I'm
Oh, that's
hoping.
good. Well, and that's another disadvantage of living out in the country. Like if I were going to meet my friends, I'm looking at an hour driving time there and back, and not an hour each way. Well, it depends on where we would go, but at
Right.
least a minimum of 30-minute driving. So that really does take a chunk. So I try to avoid lunches during the week like that, unless maybe once in a while. Not weekly though, because like you said, that can just eat up your time
Oh, yeah.
unbelievably fast. And then just, when you work from home, well, unless you have a studio outside of your home, then it's just the day-to-day task. You walk to the bathroom. Oh, I should just throw that load of laundry in. Oh, now I need to fold the laundry.
Right.
Now I need to put the laundry away. And then that just your daily chores can get in the way.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
think it's really good to schedule that and treat it like the business that it is. Of course, we are our own boss, and so we can make changes as we see fit or as we want. But I think if you go into the week and knowing that, okay, you can even schedule your laundry. These are going to be my laundry days.
Oh,
And know what
yeah.
they used to do in the old days? Like a laundry day was Wednesday or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just hear, like way, way back in the 40s and 50s, they had laundry day. Of course, I think it was a lot bigger deal to have laundry day than it is now.
Oh, yeah.
We're so
Yeah.
spoiled. We just throw it in the box and turn it on.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy now. All right. Was that all you had to say about the scheduling
Yeah, I
your
think
week in
so.
advance? Okay, that was
Yeah.
good. I just thought of something. We did not give credit to who brought this question up.
Oh, yes.
This was a listener's question and a friend of yours, and she's becoming a friend of mine, Thea, right? Why don't you give her the proper credit
Yeah.
for this question?
Yes. Thea Fiore Bloom posed the question to us, how to prioritize your time so you end up in the studio more.
Hmm.
So we thought, gosh, we can make a whole entire podcast about that. So thank you, Thea. Uh,
Yeah,
Thea,
thank you.
Thea is a writer. She's also an artist. She has a blog and a podcast that goes by the title of The Charmed Studio
Hmm.
Podcast. Her
And we've
blog
mentioned her before. Yeah,
Yes, her blog is just amazing. She has all kinds of stuff on there. Just
it
awesome
is.
stuff.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
lots of resources. And her podcast, I absolutely love her podcast.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
I do too.
She has such good ideas. She talks about just wonderful things. Like this week she talked about listicles.
Oh yeah,
You'll have to check that out. It was a really good one.
yeah. Well, it's last week now because we're
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Was it? No, I think it was Monday. I think it came out
I
Monday.
know, but our
Oh yeah.
podcast will come out the
Right.
following week. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just so check out Thea's podcast and look at her website. And she's got a lot of good stuff to offer.
Yes. So thank
Okay,
you, Thea.
yeah. Thank you, Thea. And let's see, I've got one that is kind of laughable because I am not a morning person, but my tip was to get up earlier to get into your studio. If that's the only time you have, I know that I hear about there's a lot of busy moms, and we're busy moms too. We're out of the little kid stage, but when you have a family and you're at home, if you're working from home as an artist and you have these kids, maybe they haven't even gone into school yet, so you have to get up before they do in order to get anything done.
Yeah.
Now I am not one to do this, but I do think it's good in theory.
Yeah.
And I do know that people that do it. So, that is, we all have the same amount of time in the day. There's only 24 hours a day. We have to sleep. And sometimes I wish we didn't have to sleep, but I do love sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sleeping in is like one of life's greatest luxuries as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, remember when I went through a couple phases where I would get up at like 4 o'clock in the
Oh
morning
my
and
God.
paint?
I don't know how you were doing that, girl. You're crazy.
Yeah.
That's like nighttime.
Yeah, every once in a while I go into a phase where I get up real early and
Yeah.
paint.
Or you do the opposite too, and then you'll stay up super
Stay
late
up late.
painting.
Yeah.
You're just all over the board. Girl, talk to me in 10 years. Well, there's not 10 years between us quite, but
Yeah.
you talk about being tired now. Just wait. It just seems like it just keeps coming and keeps coming.
Oh no, no, I
So
can't.
you definitely have to prioritize your time because the couch is calling.
Yeah.
I do not have endless energy anymore. I used to stay up late. That's when I considered myself to be the most creative was evening time, and
Oh
I would
yeah.
stay up really late in my studio. But man, I just cannot do that any longer. All right, so then I had prioritize your time. So that kind of is goes along with the title, but you know you do have to pick, like I was talking about earlier. If you know that you have some chores to do, get them over and done with so you can get in the studio. So as long as you have a schedule, even if it's just in your head, and plan out, don't just let things happen to you, plan them. And I think that that will definitely help. All
Mm.
right. So that was a short and sweet one. What else we forgot here? Why don't you go ahead and do the next one? The Google one.
Oh, reduce screen time.
Yeah, yeah. And so you kind of
Yes.
did that recently, Lori. You had a little
Yeah.
experiment, you had a little hiatus from
Yeah.
social media. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so recently I've been toying with the idea of ditching social media altogether. Not
And now, so when you
LinkedIn
say, yeah,
and
say what you mean. Which
yeah,
ones are you
yeah,
going to ditch?
just Facebook and Instagram because really
Mm-hmm,
that's where I spend the most of my time.
mm-hmm.
And it really is social media takes up so much time. It
It
can
can, yeah.
really suck up your time. You
Mm-hmm,
get sucked into that scrolling down,
mm-hmm.
scroll or up or whatever however you want to say that.
Yeah.
But you just kind of do that mindless
The
scroll,
endless, mindless
and
scroll.
then
Yeah.
half of what you see are advertisements, so do we
Oh,
really want
it's
to fill
gotten
up our
bad.
time with looking at advertisements? I mean,
Right.
but anyway, to make a long story short, I took a week off from social media. I think it was right at a week.
Mm-hmm,
And I found that, my life seemed a little bit less chaotic without it
mm-hmm.
because I wasn't getting on there and checking things
Uh-huh.
and it just gave me a little bit more time. My screen time went down 13% when I
That's
took
awesome.
Facebook and Instagram off my phone
Well, but
and
did you
stopped.
paint more? Did you get in the studio more? Did you paint more?
I think I did maybe a little bit. I
Okay.
finished a big 36 by 48 painting that week.
Oh, that's
So,
good. But that's
and
not too
those,
uncommon for you. I think it just depends
yeah,
on what you want to do, your
right.
personality type. Um, me, I'm kind of the I won't say that I don't mindlessly scroll. I do that, of course, too. I think most everybody does. If it's on your phone. But
Mhm.
I can forget that it's there. And I'll forget to post
Yeah.
and I'll forget, oh shit, I didn't get on Facebook today. Or I'll be hearing stuff.
Right.
Oh, so and so said, this or this happened. I'm like, oh, I haven't been on Facebook today. So it's one of
Yeah.
those things that's not, I got so much going on, it seems, with especially at this time of year with gardening. And I know that you don't garden, Lori. So
No.
that gardening has become my social media.
Oh
it
yeah.
it sucks all my time, but I love it. So it's not a problem for me. But it does take time away from
Yeah.
my studio. So I have to plan accordingly. And I just know that in the bigger scheme, this is my busy phase. Spring and summer, I know that I will spend less time in the studio, and that's
Mhm.
okay because
Yeah.
that's what I love to do. That's what I want to do is get out there, and I still want to paint too. And I'll get more in as the summer comes in and the heat. When it gets really really hot, will be a great time to come into the
Mhm.
studio and come back to
Yeah.
it.
And
So
I'm like, oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was done.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and I'm like you with your gardening. That's how I am with painting. When I come into the
Oh,
studio, like the rest of the world disappears.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, yeah, so I'm like that
Yeah.
too.
Well, and I do that too, especially if I'm in the zone. Oh my gosh, that's the greatest place to be, isn't it? And time just stands still, and then you look
Yeah,
up and you've been in here 4 hours or something,
right,
and you're like, oh, where did the time go? It's
right.
amazing. And in the flow, we all talk
Yeah.
about that, don't we? Being in the
Oh
zone
yeah.
or the flow. Yeah, that's great. All right. So I'm going to say work when you are most productive. And that goes back to well, you were scheduling time to get up, but are you most productive at 4:30 in the morning?
It seems I thought about that earlier. I really tried to think about am I more productive at night or
Mhm.
in the evening or in the morning? And it seems like it doesn't matter for me. It seems like it's
Oh,
all
that's
about
good.
it seems like it's all about the same.
Oh, wow. Well, that's different
Yeah.
than how I am because I used to feel more productive in the evening. But now as, I've gotten older, things have changed and, I'm tired at the end of the day. So I enjoy sitting down with Daryl and we watch some TV. We're still watching Sneaky Pete. We're on season 2. It's really good if you haven't watched it on Amazon Prime, their original
Oh
series.
yeah.
You should watch that if you haven't. It's really good. Anyway, so now I have found that I'm pretty much in a routine now. That I get up with Asher at 5:30. I go back to sleep when
5:30. Oh
he
my gosh.
I know. I go back to sleep when he leaves. And then I have to set the alarm for myself at 8:30. And I don't necessarily always get up at 8:30, but I try to. And then I start my day. And I usually start with my computer work in the morning. And then I like to get in the studio really ideally after lunch. I think that
Mhm.
I've gotten my computer stuff out, I get my lunch out of the way, and then I can go and I can I'm not one of those that can put marathon hours in. Like, I could not do an 8-hour day in the studio. I don't believe I could. I don't know that I've ever, maybe on a deadline to get something done, I've done
Uh-huh.
that, but I'm more of a 2 to 3 hour stretch type of artist, and I'm kind of spent after that. My
Mhm.
neck and shoulders are tight, and I'm just tired. I'm kind of mentally tired, and so whenever it's time for me to break, if I can get down there around 12 or 12:30, then my son gets home from school around 3:30, and then sometimes it depends on if he gets gas or if he sits and talks to his buddies. So if I can get back upstairs in between 3:30 and 4, then I feel like I've accomplished a lot and I've spent all my, admin time doing computer work, checking emails, maybe working on the website, doing social media, doing all that stuff
Mhm.
so I can get down and paint. So for me, that's when mine is. And so that is really intriguing that you can just pick any hour. You really haven't found any time
I really
that works
haven't.
better?
Like, I mean, yeah, it doesn't seem like I've noticed a big
Well,
difference. If I'm
well, what
in the
about a
mood, if
time
I'm,
that you're more creative? Are you more creative at a certain time? When do you get your ideas? Are you in the
well,
shower? Are you one of those that get ideas in the shower or driving or when do you get your ideas?
I haven't really noticed. I don't know.
Really?
I'm not
Really? Oh,
sure.
I'd have to say both of those for me, driving because I'm in my car a
Yeah.
lot when, because we live so far out. So I am in the car a lot and I get a lot of ideas like that while I'm listening to music sometimes and in the shower. Oh, and a
Yeah.
lot of times, man, right before you lay down to go to sleep, my mind sometimes
Oh
goes
yeah, mine
and I'm
too.
thinking about paintings. And sometimes I just have to get up and write it down because if I don't, then it'll be gone. I have noticed
Yeah.
that. If I don't write that idea down, because I'm not going to get up and start painting. So if I don't write the idea down, it'll be gone.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know that ideas necessarily come to me. Well, certain ones, like that skull painting I did last year, that came to me. I don't remember what I was doing when it came to me,
Oh, I
but
would love to know.
I don't even remember. But I'll tell you what I do sometimes is like I'll be sitting and imagining that I'm painting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And do you do that too?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I bet we
And I
all do that.
dream, yeah, and I dream that I'm painting too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like that. So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool, isn't it, that we can
Yeah.
do that? You know, I listened to a podcast and for the life of me, I cannot remember what it is, but she has this disorder. I guess it's a disorder. I don't really know if that's the right word or not, but it is dysplasia or something like that, to where
Synesthesia?
May I don't know, she cannot envision things. She cannot
Oh.
see things in her mind.
Okay, no, that's something different. Okay.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so I just thought, wow, I can't even imagine that because I've painted galleries of paintings in my mind. Haven't
Oh
you?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I can just see myself doing the strokes and picking the colors and
Right.
so it's so hard to even imagine someone and it's not all that an uncommon thing to have from what she says. So I'll have to
Yeah.
look that up and I'll
Yeah.
mention her because she has a really good podcast. I don't know if we've talked about it. She's very soft spoken and she also has a jewelry business and I think it's like moon morning moon jewelry, I think is what it
Mhm.
is. I'm not sure. But I really like listening to her. She's very calming. If I'm maybe stressed or whatever, listening to her voice just is just so relaxing. She has a very wonderful podcast voice. And I'll look her up and I'll put her in the show notes just as
Okay.
under the mentions. So let's see, where else are we at there? That was or were you done talking about the most productive time?
Yeah, I think so.
I have next is prepare for the next day so you can be creative and start right away by tidying up your studio so it's ready to go whenever you're done in the evening. And that could just mean clearing a space for me because I am oh, and you are too, I think. We're messy, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Like I get everything out and stuff's in the way. I don't even have a flat surface to work on. So
Yeah.
I think that that could save you a lot of time to get started because a lot of times you're so excited to get down in the studio, but when you're finishing up your painting for the day, then just take the time to maybe tidy up and move your paints out of the way, put them away, clean your brushes, unless you don't clean your brushes throughout the week, and just get it set up because I think if you come down to your studio, especially if you have limited time to even create something the next day, if you have to clean your studio up first, then that may stop you from even
Mhm.
starting a painting or continuing a painting, whatever it is. So that's a good recommendation. And I found that on Google. You know, we always are looking for extra ideas too. So yeah,
Yeah.
tidying up your studio, I think is really good, and we definitely should learn from that. That's advice. That's advice that I do not take
Yeah.
because usually I'm in such a hurry. I'm tossing my brushes in the water yeah, and then I get back upstairs. But
Well, a lot of times it's hard for me to clean up my area after I paint because the paint is still wet. And I think
yes,
you do this too. You have a glass sheet
yeah,
that you pour your paints on,
yeah.
your palette.
Sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So a lot of times I like to let them dry and then scrape them off,
yeah.
you
It is
know.
easier that way. I've been going back and forth lately. I use a glass palette, and but I also have that Masterson's wet palette.
Oh
So
yeah.
I go back and forth. The one thing that I've noticed on it is um, that if you don't open that, like if I'll go back to my glass palette, or if I don't get down in the studio for a few days, some of the colors start to mold. So that's kind of
Oh,
annoying. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. So
yeah.
I just had to deal with that the other day. I was down here yesterday painting, and opened it up because I'm working on a painting that it has the colors that I want to. I want the one behind me there. That can you tell I changed it some?
I
The
can't see it from here too
Okay, well,
good.
that's okay. That's all right. I added a dark sky on it. But anyway, I needed those colors and they were in that wet palette that I hadn't opened in like a
Yeah.
week. And I opened it up and I'm like, oh man.
Oh no.
But you know what's weird? It's only certain colors that do that.
Well,
Like
that's
the
weird.
natural colors, it seems, and some of the others, but it's only the certain ones. They don't all mold. It's crazy. And I even put ammonia in mine. I have a little spray bottle that I keep and I'll pull the on a if you're not aware of what the wet palette is, there's a like a sponge underneath, and then there's a special paper that the stay wet paper that goes on top. And so you get the sponge wet, and that's what keeps the moisture in there. And then you can add like I think it's a quarter teaspoon of ammonia to that to keep things from growing in there.
Mhm.
Well, let me tell you, that doesn't always work because
Oh.
I'm spraying. I'm taking this and I'm spraying my palette all the time. And I don't spray the paint. I pick the palette up and spray the water, the sponge underneath, which in my case, the sponge rotted away. And so now I use those blue paper towels because the mold ate it. It ate through the sponge.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was my own fault for not keeping that going very well. But anyway, there's a all you didn't want to know about a wet palette. All right, Lori, what's your last one there?
You know, I'm thinking too that you can combine your social activities with your art.
Oh
So if you need
yeah.
more time in the studio, just like you, me, and Vicky, and used to when Sandy
And
would get with
Sandy?
us,
Yeah.
we would paint at your house. So instead of studio time, we were getting plein air painting.
Yeah. Right, right.
Yeah,
Oh, those
you
days are
know,
coming up soon. We need to schedule that
yeah.
because we're at prime time before
Oh
it gets too
yeah,
hot. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah. So looking forward to that.
yeah. So
Yes.
just
And
combine your
you're right.
social activities.
Yeah, that's right. And we have such a good time when we do that. We get our lunches. It's gonna be hard now. Vicky's found out she's got to do this gluten-free shit. What the
Oh
hell?
yeah, I
What
feel
is
so
that?
bad
That's
for her. Oh
I
man,
do too. That's gonna be really bad when we're eating cake
yeah.
next to
Oh
her. Oh yeah, we'll have to figure out something for her. But yeah, we get to talk shop and get our painting in too. Yeah, I love that. That is one of my favorite things that we do. Now I love it when we go out to eat and just talk about business and stuff, but when we
yeah,
get together and paint, that's really fun.
yeah,
All right, well, I think this has been pretty good,
yeah. I think so too.
and we talked about it a lot longer than I thought we would.
I know.
We're never short of words, are we? Well, I wanted to say that I hope the listeners enjoy what we're talking about, what we have for episodes. We would love to get any kind of ideas that you want to share with us that you'd like to hear about. And I don't know, should we let the cat out of the bag, Lori? We're going to start having
Oh yeah,
interviews. We're going to start having interviews.
yeah.
Well, would we call them interviews? We haven't really decided. It's not going to be interview form necessarily. It could be here and there, but we're just hoping to get them in on the conversation too, right? That's what I was
Mhm.
thinking. What were you thinking, Lori? Same?
Yeah, I think more of a conversational type interview, which I
Yeah.
guess, yeah,
So you'll be hearing some other voices along with us very soon. And I'm looking forward to that. Well, I think our first one is going to be Vicki Wilson, right? I'll
yeah.
add her to the mentions so you can be looking forward to that. So we're not sure when Vicki can pencil us in for an interview, but or a session, but we're looking forward to having Vicki on. And this will be different for us, right? Because we don't really know how this is going to work. I'm assuming we'll just continue to Zoom. Well, thanks for listening. And we hope you got a lot out of this. And don't forget that we've got merchandise, aprons, and tote bags. Help support the show. We'd so appreciate it. If you'd like to get a shout out and mention your website, give us a review, please, a written review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcast at. And don't forget, we're on YouTube. You can watch us talk and see Lori's fabulous shirt. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.